All right, hello, we're live. I think we're either on time or possibly a few seconds early, which is unprecedented in Wargamers Hangout. So thank you and welcome to everybody who decided to arrive on time. Hopefully this is worth your while.
Of course it is, Miranda. We are so very interesting and insightful on the many things in the... Thanks for coming.
There's a little bit of bribery happening today. Privateer did send me some new product. I have the King of Nothing, as well as my new favorite models ever, the Nice Layers, which I will be doing an unboxing on in a little bit. So
they do look sweet.
They look amazing, and their rules are even better. I forgot to bring my tablet up here, otherwise I would have the rules up. So, oh well. So, what's happened? What's been new release stuff? What's been going on in your life, Dan? Anything new, exciting? Any tournaments or games?
Me, hobby-wise?
Yeah.
I've been mostly playing 40K, actually.
What? So you're putting those orcs to use?
Yeah, just kind of like testing out the new orc, because I've been having some fun. It's mostly just like really casual games, but I'm looking to film a game later this week.
What? Like record one? Oh my gosh. You might get one on before me. Did you hear about the lawsuit against Games Workshop for $62.5 million?
I can't remember what it was about, but I did hear about it. It was something ridiculous.
Well, it's on multiple charges, and I don't know how many of them will stick. It's certain antitrust and like unfair business practices. So, like price controls, which could affect other companies who put limits on how much you can sell, how much you can discount your stuff for. So, I don't know. I'm kind of curious to see what happens with it because I really don't know. The only thing that I have to point out, though, is the timing of it. In typical fashion, like, I think this is probably the biggest lawsuit that Games Workshop's ever been hit with. I don't know of a bigger one than that. It's a lot of money. And it only happened after Games Workshop started getting nicer.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, whoever the prior CEO is just like thumbing his nose, like, this is what happens when you show them that you have a heart. They go after you. But anyway, that's neither here nor there.
I think it's just more... It's like Games Workshop was kind of like losing market share, and all of a sudden they're like boom, and they're like super back up again.
Yeah.
In a lot of people's eyes, and so it's like, oh, gotta stop him, gotta stop him. That's what it feels like to me.
We also started with an audience question to open up with. I said, how many factions can you play at once before going insane? This is in light of Privateer announcing that they're going to be doing a small faction release per year, which seems insane to me, but I don't know. So I was curious what other people thought of it. Mandragora responded with, comments that it's a trick question. And if you're going to play competitively, you need to be able to play all of the factions to know what they can do, and when they can do it, and what breaks them. And that is why I don't do tournament stuff anymore, because I play one faction, maybe two now. I don't know yet.
So I've collected Signar since the beginning, like 5-6 years ago, and built that up. And I almost have... There's a few models I don't own, like Trencher Commandos, but for the most part, I own everything.
Yeah.
And it's great. I like playing it. A lot of diversity, whatever. You can play whatever you want. Then I started collecting Scorn to try out Hordes, but then that quickly evolved into Minions because I just enjoyed Minions a whole lot better. And there'd be times where I'd like put Signar to the side and play more Minions, but then play... And it was just, even those two going back and forth, and then new releases coming out for both, and you're like trying to buy everything. It's just like, two feels almost overwhelming. And it's like, I've kind of found my balance of, I do not even want to think about other factions.
Well, what about the argument of like a full-fledged faction versus like a non-full-fledged faction? Say Convergence, when they released, they were like, this is not going to always get new releases. This is a limited faction. Do you think that if you have one core faction like Khador or Signar or Minath or Protectorate or whatever, any of those core, and then do like, could you do more than one additional like mini release faction like Grymkin and Convergence or
I think it just goes with the style of people will buy a list. They'll look at a faction and they'll buy one list, or now it'll be like one theme list kind of thing.
Yeah.
They'll have those models and they'll play with that one thing, and that'll be enough for that faction. They're like, they'll have it. Oh, great! This is that list. It's a fun list, whatever. And that's all they want to collect in that faction. And it's kind of like hobbyist. It's like they just kind of want to paint some trolls or something, and they just want to have the cool, and might as well make a list of it, and I can play it. Great. But that's all they want in that faction, and I don't understand that at all. when I go to the hobby, like when I go out to game, I have like 5 lists I want to play, or I have 0 lists, and I'm going to make one on the spot. I just open my bag and go, I have you, I have you, I have you. I'm like 5 points off, okay, and you, and we'll play a game. Like, I love doing that. That's the funnest way for me to play. So I need a full faction.
Is that how you played Malifaux?
But yeah, that was the cool thing about Malifaux, is that you were supposed to play like that.
Yeah. Oh gosh, there's a few responses here. So Korgoon, welcome. He said, depends on how much free time you have and also your sanity score. Appreciate the Arkham Horror reference. Let's see. And greetings from Finland, says R2. Welcome. Glad you could join us. And what else have we got here? So for the limited faction release, I know Grymkin's going to... It seems to be getting a pretty warm reception, but I don't know that on a year-over-year basis it's going to keep up that momentum. Because like you said, I think you can get hobby fatigue or gaming fatigue. And then, like, how far-reaching are they going to go? I mean, I know there was talk about a zoo group, and then Mandragora mentioned maybe like a specifically Steelheads faction, which would probably be something like what the Cephalix was. But, I mean, I think it'd be cool to see a Nis army, but then where do you go after that?
Yeah, I was about to say the Neverborn came out of nowhere. The Grymkin, yeah, I'm like, yeah, that's their name. It's kind of like, I was like, what? I'm like, I don't really follow the fluff too much, but I was like, okay, they exist. They've existed. But it's just, they're really small. And it's, yeah, if you're playing that, you kind of just buy everything. You have the whole faction. It's not too bad. There's not going to be a whole lot of releases for it. There's a whole lot of depth to the faction, at least.
Right.
To play with the different arcanas. You can play the same list with different arcanas, and it's like a different list. It's a very similar list, but it is a different list. And so there's a lot of variation in the small amount of models, which is kind of neat.
That's a good point. I don't know that the new factions are going to necessarily introduce a new mechanic each time.
Maybe. I think it would be smart to, like that, just to make them different, to like introduce more to the game. It's hard, but I kind of like the fact that you're doing that, because then there's in theory, there'll be a whole lot more diversity, right? It's not like everyone's playing just, a handful of factions. It's like, if you can see like top 8 and all 8 people are playing different factions. I mean, it's already possible, but it's just more possible if there's more diversity.
Oh man, I don't know. So, I mean, on the one hand, I guess, yeah, there's more options and more shinies, but I mean, is that really attracting the player base you want? Because I don't know how good it is for people who are in the hobby a long time and like knowing how the game plays and being able to understand the scope of the factions. I don't think that with a faction per year release, you will feasibly even be able to competitively answer every single faction. And I don't know if that's the point, but I think it will drive out that audience.
You mean like the super competitive?
Yeah. Anybody who wants to be able to answer all of those questions.
Well, I think that's the... I guess, like, yeah, if everyone's just bringing crazy skew lists, then it's impossible to have an answer for everything, and then just hope.
Well, but I mean, even knowing how every single faction plays, if we get up to like 20 factions, like who's going to know how to fight any of, like, who's going to even be familiar with that many of them?
Well, and that's almost a good thing, I think.
Maybe.
because no one has the time to be super amazingly, like, like there's only a few people who will be completely familiar with everything, and it'll be a whole lot of not gotchas, but it's just
Right. So I don't know that they're gotchas or necessarily or anything like that, but
it's fun when you don't know everything and you like have some surprises in there, or it's just I don't know.
but at what point do you not feel like you know anything? Like, oh, well, this group has Arcana, and this one has some other monkey wrench thing, and this one has this. Yeah, feats, they're kind of like, that's old school. You're like, I don't know. What game is this? So that's my like hesitation in it, because I'm like apparently just an old lady about everything. I'm like, but I like the way it's been. But as it stands, I do wonder if it could be overwhelming. So I don't know, audience people, do you think it's overwhelming at all? Am I just being completely crazy? I mean, you can answer about the crazy as far as the faction releases, not to anything else. Let's see. So Mandragora is talking. He says it's easy to go the Cephalix route. We could have Kador Kayazi, Signor Morrowins, Menoth Idrians, Circle Thorn, but no real future as full independent models like Convergence. Yeah, I could see them going the Cephalix route more so. Are you doing any release events, Dan?
No.
I think I'll be going to one on Saturday, actually. And I'm excited about it because I think if I can get the thing to open up, which I currently have not been able to do. Oh, wait, there it is. As far as I understand, it's a story campaign, which I'm very excited about. And it kind of reminds me of when you'd play Malifaux, right? Like when they do the RPG story campaigns, and you go from list to list, being affected by your prior game. So I'm looking forward to that, I think.
That'd be neat. My current meta is having a bit of a crisis. It was people were upset with War Machine, and a lot of people started switching to Malifaux, and then that's when I bought a bunch of Malifaux. But then everyone super locally is like, screw Malifaux, let's play 40k. And everyone's like, I don't know about 40k. And there's like a few people who are, but the core group is still kind of back in the War Machine. And there's a handful of people playing Guild Ball. And so, I mean, talk about faction ADD, system ADD.
I think it's very easy to get overwhelmed with systems. And I know like we've lost some War Machine people to Infinity and to... There's still a huge Battletech meta here. And apparently there's a fair amount of people who play Wrath of Kings, but they don't go to the game stores. They all hide out in other people's houses. So it's like a secret society that I don't know anything about. But yeah, and then with 8th edition, I think they're seeing a resurgence because a lot of people who walked away before are looking to come back. Everybody's playing Space Wolves. I don't know. And then Age of Sigmar, you know, now that they have a rule book, people don't hate it quite as much.
Yeah, Age of Sigmar is bringing up, like, it's got some backing now. People are behind it, playing some better games. But I've seen people playing the whatever next fan-made edition of Fantasy as well. And so that's like when I look at all that, and I still have fun kind of playing all these different systems. So I look at War Machine, and it's like, oh, they're adding more factions. I'm like, oh, I'll bring it up. Just more fun things to play against.
Yeah, I suppose. And I don't know how it's going to grow the base. Because I don't know. I just don't know if, like, any given new factions, new play style, that being your first impression of the game, if that gives you a good scope of what War Machine is, and if that's really like a fair introduction or like what you'd want out of the game. So I do wonder if it would keep players. But I mean, time will tell. I don't think I've really ever seen a faction release per year as a business goal from a game company before. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's interesting because like when you're doing like the little factions, it's like, oh, if you're a new player, you don't have to collect that much, and you're full into it. And it should be competitive. But at the same time, you're like, but you kind of still have to have a really good grasp of the game to be able to play War Machine. That's kind of one of the downfalls of it, is you have to know so much about the game and what other factions can do for you to stand a chance, and you constantly get assassinated, and it's just like a brutal game. And so when you're playing with like a limited faction, I feel like Grymkin is not newbie friendly. It's for the more experienced players who want to take a break from their main faction and have fun with a side faction.
Maybe I think it's overtuned right now to be specifically like really overpowered. So I think a lot of new players will have a really like friendly introduction to it. No, what's this Arcana? Oh, I can just react to this. Oh, sacrifice. Okay, I have no damage on anything anymore. This game is great, you know, which was exactly what I said whenever I played it. I was like, wow, I've never played Hordes before, and and I'm winning. So clearly this is broken. Let's see. Jill Fitzpatrick says, loads and loads of bat rep watching. There's basically no way to actually familiarize myself with all the faction themes. It becomes everything is a surprise. And actually that's in continuance of his earlier statement. He said, getting overwhelmed with the perspective of a player 1 year in. I do have Crix and Cephalix as a second faction, which is fun, but no matter how many games I get in, which is 1 or 2 a week, and a tourney every few times a year, there's no way to actually familiarize himself with the factions. So, yeah. And then Mandragora says, I've seen a faction release per year before. Mech Warrior Dark Age did it when they swapped from 6 sub-factions to 8 sub-factions and 9 sub-factions to 20. It did not go well for WizKids. Yeah. Well, Dark Age, that's the CMON game, if I recall right. That game's beautiful, but yeah, you kind of get lost in like, which mini is this? Which mini is this? And I do worry that they lose distinction. Now, Grymkin, they're so incredibly unique and weird that you can pretty much always tell those models. But I don't know how they're going to do it with, you know, if they did do a Zoo faction or a NIS faction. So.
Yeah, I don't know how they're going to do it, but I mean, I can see for most players how that's not maybe the greatest idea. For me, I'm excited about it because I just want to see more diversity, more crazy things.
Yeah, but
that's what I really enjoy. But for the vast majority of people, it might be a mistake.
All right, well, that's worth actually pointing out because your playstyle is different from mine. I would actually consider you more closer to like a magpie gamer. Like, don't take offense to it. Just, you know, you like seeing the new things and just going from new thing to new thing. And I don't think you're like that deeply invested in any particular game system, right?
I was in War Machine for a very long time. I just didn't look at anything else at all.
With Signar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Signar and then Minions. So,
like, it depends on the type of gamer you are. Because if you're the type who, like, no, I play the one thing, I've had 140K, 2,500 point list for 10 years or whatever, versus people who are like, I just want the new thing, then you're going to have a very different experience.
Well, I mean, the people who have the one list are more fluffy gamers, and they're not super serious about the game. While the other gamers who will, oh, this is the most powerful thing, I'll buy all those models. And then there's an FAQ, and they're not that good anymore. Then they sell them off and buy all the other models, right? And they're like, "Oh, I hate this game. It's so frustrating."
Oh, no. This game. You found the real business model. Here's the new faction. It's ridiculous. Bradigus, enjoy that. Oh, CID. Yeah, about that.
Yeah. So
a lot of eBaying of models after that. It's like here.
So I guess the other concern is that. Right, is like with new factions every year, will there still be a market for selling off used factions back and forth, right? Like your old stuff?
Michael Gardner said, selling models? I don't understand. I agree. That's weird to me. But
I sold my first models. I bought, so back when Privateer Press had press gangers, you had to have 2 battle groups painted of the same system. And so I had a battle group of Scorn and of Signar, but those wouldn't jive, so I had to have one of like Crix or something. So I bought a Crix battle box, and I was like, I can just paint them up and they'll be fun. And then like 5 other people were like, "Oh, well, we'll be press gangers." I was like, "All right, I don't need all that extra effort and whatever." So I was like, "You want to do it? You take that. You run the tournaments, do whatever. That's awesome. I love that." But then I had these Crix models, and they just sat around and did nothing. So one time, this was like 6 months ago, some guy's like, "I need some Crix models cheap," and I was like, "Well, here's this battle box." I've been sitting collecting dust for like 2 years, 3 years, and I sold models. Felt a little weird, but I sold models, and then all they were was like for a display board of like the trolls, and it was like this ship, and like the Crix jacks were like falling off and being destroyed by like the new troll gargantuan thing. And it looked super cool, and I was like, "Yay! My models are being used for display purposes." So, yeah, I don't know.
So if you've never opened the model and you really have no reason to own it anymore, then selling it makes sense. Okay. But what about when you've played it and you're just done with it, like a dog you adopt and it's not a puppy anymore, and then you're like, "I don't want you. I'm just gonna leave you on a street corner."
Well, then yeah.
That's not a good example.
Well, yeah, you sell the puppy. You don't kill it. you let someone else play with the puppy. You don't just hide it in a drawer and forget to feed it, you know?
Well, let's just say it's a good thing that models don't need maintenance like that. So Kevin mentions in the comments, well, a concern about a new faction year is if it will be limited release. Now, sorry, Kevin. Based on that, as I understand it, like they're just developing it for a certain period of time. I assume they'll continue to sell the models. I don't know that they would just say, you know, it's like a void shield generator where boom, there's 1,000 and that's all you get. Have you heard anything other than that?
No.
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe.
That's what I figured. So it should be fine. Like the new release, it just means they're only going to look at him for a period of time and then move on basically to a different faction. That's my understanding of it. So I don't know. Let's see, Mandragora, but War Machine Hordes is faction pure. You either go all in one faction to keep up with potential power creep, or you have 2 factions which your local group figured to counter. So yeah, I mean, that's more or less how I play. And even picking up Grymkin, like I'm already feeling like I miss Caterer. Anyway, R2 asks, what are your thoughts about the privateer press version of Loot Crate, the mini crate? Any plans on subscribing to that? Are you familiar with it, Dan?
Yeah, so they have like limited alternate models for, and so the first one they showed was like this like Ursula, like octopus woman, to play in place of the Swamp Fiend.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like a planned alternate model, and it looks pretty cool. It's kind of like more like a pinup kind of style.
Well, yeah, I know they kind of have that style typically. The Bombardier, Bombshell, and the whatever the meta's ruined it. I always think of Crockpot for the Legion cauldron thing, but it's like the girl in it. So yeah, thank you. The Swamp Siren, or the Swamp Siren's yours, I guess. But
yeah. So they, as far as I understand, you subscribe and you just get a model every month, and you don't know quite what it is, and you just get it, and it's somewhat limited. So yeah. I've thought about it, but I was like, maybe if you like had like a group of people go in on it, if you didn't share factions, and then you just kind of pitch in for what month your faction comes up with, I can see it beneficial that way.
Oh, that's an interesting point, because they have I think it's $100 every 6 months or something like that, instead of $16 a month. So it's a little cheaper. And if you did go in that way, I could see that being a good idea.
Yeah, in my experience, Loot Crate, I'm not sure what else they're giving with it, or if it's just a model. But in general, like any kind of like subscription is you get some cool stuff, but most of it's kind of meh.
Well, but it's a miniature, right? And it's hard. like miniatures have a wide range of what's acceptable because people can do so much with them when they're painting them, and if they're including them in a diorama, I mean, I've never really met somebody who's like, no, I'm not. I feel like I could have too many miniatures, I guess. I've never met somebody who would say that.
Too many miniatures?
Too many miniatures.
It's so easy to have too many miniatures.
Well, I mean, it's so easy to factually and practically have too many miniatures, but nobody's going to be like, I have too many miniatures. Like, nobody's going to admit that because, no, like, I want them. I like that. This one's cool. It's like if you've ever, I don't know, you ever deal with like a little kid and they have like too many stuffed animals and you're like, you need to get rid of some of this stuff. And they're like, no, this is my favorite one. And they're like, so that's fair, right? Oh gosh, somebody just suggested a piggyback pinup model. Shame on you, Kevin. No.
I don't even own Grymkin. I'd buy that one.
No. This is the worst ever.
Just some voluptuous babe.
Maybe it can be like the old witch in a bathing suit. Those lovely metal claws of hers. Well, that got scary. Corgoon said, I considered the Loot Crate Minis thing, but it didn't say anywhere if they were metal or resin, and I have enough metal minis. I don't know. My assumption, sorry, Mandragora. My assumption is that they would be resin, but I don't know. Resin isn't that crazy to do, as somebody who now has experience with that. But you know what it keeps wanting, you know what it all keeps encouraging me to do is like, I want to try making a miniature now. Like I've put more thought to it than I'm saying now, but like in general, you're like, God, this is a really approachable thing. The way 3D printing has come along, if you know a 3D modeler, it's just like, you can really run wild with what you can do with miniatures now. So.
Yeah, I guess you could just design it in a 3D CAD, whatever, print out a 3D printer, get someone to do that, and then you just make a mold of it, and then boom, resin miniatures.
Sort of, unless you're highly allergic to mold release. Nick asks, what is your favorite War Machine faction aside from Khador? What's your favorite War Machine faction aside from Khador, Dan?
Me?
Yeah.
Definitely. Oh, that's a hard one. My boys in blue.
Oh, the swans.
They're just, I like Lightning. Lightning is wonderful, especially now. Lightning is awesome.
I haven't had to fight Signar yet. Nobody that I know locally actually plays Signar right now.
All right. I'll introduce you to some Lightning in Valhalla.
Oh, no. Oh, no. I have to prepare. Oh, my gosh. I have to prepare to beat you. I'm not letting you beat me again this year.
That's true. We're doing an official bat rep, or we could play off camera just in case it's a shame.
Ask me again later.
No, but I think my second favorite after my main faction, Signar, is quickly becoming Retribution. Like, I love their models. And, like, their infantry, all their new stuff. They seem really cool.
I hate
playing against them.
I hate all my Asians.
But they just seem cool.
No, they are. They're incredibly powerful. I thought they were powerful in Mark II. It's like everybody discovered that in the Mark III or whatever, but, like, they've always had insanely powerful infantry. But, I don't know, their models, all right, don't hate me here, but I don't really like anime style, and they always, like, their Jacks, their Myrmidons, always lent more that way, and I just don't care. It's why I couldn't get into Infinity. Like, I just don't care about anime style.
Yeah, we talked about that before. I was like, Infinity looks awesome. You're like,
yeah.
Anime-ish.
I went through an anime phase back when, like, they only brought in, like, good anime to America, and then they let all anime in, and I was like, I don't think I like anime. But anyway, there's a few questions in here. I don't know who I'd pick aside from Khador. Like, I really, really, really love Khador. Although, for what it's worth, back when I was originally considering playing War Machine at all, I did look at Signar. I was like, wow, they've got this really cool look. I like that, like, that very overtly steampunk kind of Victorian look to them. But I obviously chose the correct faction, so...
Well, and I'm sure I've said this before, but the first faction I looked at in War Machine was Khador. And I was like, I'm collecting Khador. And then Matt at Mini Wargaming was like, well, I'm already playing it, so you got to choose another faction. Right? Because you were filming stuff, and you just can't have everyone playing the same faction. So my original choice was Khador.
Yeah.
And then I wanted Crix, but that was taken by Dave, who never really played. So whatever. So Signar was actually my third choice.
We wouldn't be very good friends if you played Crix. They're just so evil.
But that was the same thing in 40K. I wanted to play Tyranids, but they were taken. So I wanted to play Tau, and they were taken. And so I ended up with Orcs. And then I just owned Orcs. just like I owned Signar. And it's just, you just got to make a choice in life and own it.
You have to make a choice after other people have taken other choices away from you. Okay, I understand.
No, you don't have control of everything in life sometimes. Sometimes you're just allotted something. And you just got to make the best of it what you can.
Yes, yes. Retribution. It's nice to have manly elves. When's the last time you found elves with beards? Well, you don't see them because it's very illogical. They're elves. They can't grow facial hair or probably any body hair. I mean, I think Ron's a good example of that. Or in Midwinter. So what do you guys think of Company of Iron? I'm getting more and more excited about Company of Iron. Ever since I learned that you don't have Warcasters in it, I've been on board because I've wanted scenarios for War Machine forever that didn't have Warcasters because I wanted to play a more traditional strategic game, and I'm hoping Company of Iron offers that. In the last No Quarter that came out, they were talking about cards that they're going to give you to help make up for, we'll just say, underprivileged models that typically would be made up for with Warcasters by giving you, I think, special abilities on them. And then, as somebody also mentioned, since you also cannot play any large bases in the game. Apparently, Khador only runs Manowar and has no Warjacks whatsoever for Company of Iron.
Not a whole lot of iron. Well, no, Manowar are covered in iron.
Yeah, they're legit iron.
Are you excited for the Manowar theme list?
I'm excited for Manowar Sorsha.
Which will be released with the Manowar theme list.
Yeah, probably. They'll be like, all right, fine, people. You've only been asking for this for like 6 years. Here's the Manowar theme list. Oh, by the way, here's your favorite girl. Boom. It's going to be very effective. Because everybody's going to be like, about time, but then they're just going to be super happy with it, so whatever.
So on that note, I've slightly changed my opinion on Privateer's approach to theme lists. Because they've announced that by this November, they will have a theme list that will encapsulate every single model they've released. And so they're still going to go through the CID and introduce the theme lists with new models, but they're going to go ahead because so many people were complaining about balance differences and other factions getting more love than others that they've decided to release all of the theme forces ahead of time and then backtrack and expand those theme forces to kind of how they are right now. Like the Trencher theme force for Signar was coming out, and they introduced this model, this model, this model, this model, and a new caster to fit in with that. And they're like, this is that. And then, so they're going to do that for each theme list slowly, but they're going to go ahead and go, well, this is the existing part of the theme list if you want to play that kind of style. And so I think that's really cool. How they're just going to push everything forward saying, okay, you don't have to wait 3 years to get your theme list. Here it is. You're still gonna have to wait 3 years to get our additional models we have planned to release with that theme list to enhance it, but you'll have something. And you won't feel pigeonholed to only the couple theme lists in your faction or whatever. So I think that's pretty neat. I really wonder how many theme lists are actually gonna be released.
Yeah.
Is it gonna be like 10 per faction, 5 per faction?
Oh, man, I don't know. I think it's going to start a lot of rumors, though, because people are going to be like, oh, look at the wording of this. Look at these Widowmaker scouts. When are they going to go to FA2? Never. The answer is never. They're too good. But anyway. I don't know. Theme forces kind of they're such a mixed bag for me because everything's points. You get since you get a points benefit for going themeless, you just don't ever want to play against them. And I know this is something we talked about in the last one, but it still applies because I think the theme forces right now are very broad, and so I don't think you're really missing out by not including a couple of models in order to have, like, you know, 5 to 10 points up, plus some ability that keeps your opponent from charging or something like that.
No, I think the theme lists are still very limiting in certain ways. I mean, but then they give you the advantage of points, so it's like, well, I'm limited, but I get more brute force, so
I get literally more MOA.
Right. And then some aren't as limiting. They're like, well, this is all I would take anyways. So at least if they introduce, so I'm still against theme lists. If they just cut out all theme lists, I'm happy. But seeing how that's never going to happen, they're kind of all in on theme lists.
Yeah.
At least them all being released is like the best Band-Aid I'm going to get. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, so it still sucks, but it's the best way to suck. So since I don't have control over it, I will be happy about what I get.
Patrick says, I think that's where the releases are headed, almost like a new faction per year, a new theme. It'll keep the game fresh while keeping some old models relevant. Now, yeah, I do think theme forces will help rotate the strength of certain models because they would always get pigeonholed. You know, you'd have your different classifications of warcasters and, you know, the S class and then like everyone else basically for any sort of tournament play. And that's all you'd ever hear talked about are those S class casters. And then people, like, after a couple of years rediscovering like a unit that they're like, wow, I just forgot all about these because somebody read the stats and didn't think about them and then, you know, ended up getting them at some point but never using them. So I think this will kind of maybe keep it in the forefront of people's minds. It certainly will help with selling models. Arturo asks, will we see any Iron Kingdoms RPG by you guys? Have you played the IK RPG, Dan?
I am not.
Never? Not ever?
Never, ever.
Do you just, like, hate stories? Is that how that works?
I hate fun.
Yeah, I can see that.
Like, if I have to be in the same room with the same people for more than a few hours, I just want to start gouging eyes. No. I don't know. It's hard to find people, right? Like, everyone is so busy all the time, it seems. And I have a very diverse amount of friends. And, like, a lot of them are married and have kids. And so being able to just game with them once every couple weeks is, like, a great thing. So finding people to play, like, RPG. Like, I have a Dungeons & Dragons group right now. And we haven't played in, like, 3 months.
Oh, no. Once you start missing weeks, though, it's gone.
Yeah, we've gone downhill fast. It's basically dead. It is very sad.
It's hard.
No, the DM was changing jobs and the schedule was weird, and it was like, you know, like, it's like, I saw a little meme. It's like Dungeons & Dragons. Like, it's like, what do we want? Dungeons & Dragons. When do we want it? Tuesday, Thursday at 8, 5:30.
Oh, I don't know. The kids have soccer practice.
Yeah.
This is the problem with families right now. I mean, let's just be honest. That's what this is really about.
So, I mean, it's life. It is what it is. You take advantage of when you can. We had some good times. I was a big dumb dragonborn paladin who was just a huge dude who just was very kind and loving. Before that, I was a little asshole goblin who just poked everyone in the back. It would just ruin everything. And everyone hated my character, and they're like, Dan, why is Dan in this group? Like, I hate playing with him. I'm like, ha. I'm just playing my character. I'm not being actual jerk to you. I'm just playing the jerk in my character. But he died. So then I was like, okay, it's probably best to move on to a more loving character. More lovable.
Well, I know. Yeah, I played D&D when it was D&D 4, and we had the group going for a while. But I played the pretty awesome Dragonkin who could, who had proficiency in such a way that she could pretty much run on water like one of the Jesus lizards. And you just imagine this like 250-pound Dragonborn lady like doing that. There's some pretty amazing moments.
Hands up in the air.
Yeah, of course. In fact, the GM would always mimic it anytime I was like, I have to go across the water. And he'd be like, you suck. So, anyway. Well, do we want to go ahead and unbox these models, maybe?
Sure.
God, we've been sitting here yammering forever, and now you're making me miss RPGs really, really bad. I know there was some talk in the meta here about picking up an IK RPG, and I don't know. I might have to get in on that. I don't know when, but we'll make it work. All right, so first thing we've got here is El King of Nothing. L is
Bring up the rules for him, or you probably have the cards or everything.
I totally don't, because models don't come with cards anymore.
Oh.
Oh, yes. So let me see if I can get this to look down on my not totally filthy desk, but mostly filthy desk.
Oh, yeah, this is like the little dweeb kid with like a makeshift crown on his head.
Yeah, exactly. He's the little kid with no friends. Oh, that's my Bob Ross shirt.
It's a sweet shirt.
I think it's awesome. All right, that should approximately work. Here's my mess and my calendar and all that. All right, so we've got here the King of Nothing. The models anymore, again, don't really come with cards. So all you get is your little privateer insert slip. Foam, we can never have enough of that. All right, off the camera here. So it's just 2 pieces, actually. Yeah, 2 pieces here. We've got the little King of Nothing here. All is as mostly 1 piece, which is pretty impressive. But you know what's metal? His crown. Right up.
Crown King Nothing.
So it'll make him ever so slightly top heavy, but whatever, right? That's not the worst, I guess. So,
right. So he's Fury 8.
Fury 8? Are you kidding me?
He's huge.
Oh, but what's his command? As I recall, it's like 2 or 1. It's 1, right?
His command is 1. I don't know what his command is used for, but it's 1.
Don't ever bring arcanas that require something to trigger within your command range. So let's just be fair about that.
He's only speed 5, defense 14, armor 14, only 14 boxes. So he is like super old man stats.
Well, I mean, he's like a gnome. He's just sort of
has no weapon.
Yeah. Oh, does he not? What are his spells?
He has no. Well, first he has some. He has some passive abilities. One is Kingdom of Silence. So once per turn, when a war beast in this model's battle group is destroyed by an enemy attack, immediately after the attack is resolved, you can cast a spell without spending Fury. So you can cast spells during the enemy turn.
Ooh, that seems very in the theme of Grymkin.
Yeah, so if you bring just a bunch of little Kravitz, every time one dies, well, only once per turn, but you just get this. So I don't know what spells he has yet, but you get to cast them during an enemy turn. So this could be cool. And then Master of Ruin. All other models, friendly or enemy, suffer -2 armor while within 5 inches of this model. Master of Ruin. So he's just got this like 5-inch bubble of death around him, affecting friend and foe. You just -2 armor. That's interesting.
His face looks remarkably like the old witch. I mean, I hope she didn't hear me say that, because after reading her Gavin Kyle files, she's one of the most terrifying things in all of Kane. But yeah, the face on here, it's like this very angry gnome face. And I can't really get too close with it because my camera won't focus, and I'm sorry, I need to upgrade it, but it's terrible. So anyway. Well, so that is the King of Nothing. I'm actually really looking forward to trying it. Boost the power of what?
When he gets to cast the Kingdom of Silence,
I mean, if it says you
may cast a spell without spending Fury. You can't boost outside of activation, though.
Is that a solid rule?
Yeah, that's like a basic rule. So you can't boost.
Well, all right. But he's still focus 8, or Fury 8, I should say.
Yeah. So he has Ashes to Ashes. Range 8, POW 10, D3, nearest models also POW 10, and it's fire damage.
Okay, fair enough.
There's Burning Ash. Oh, Burning Ash. So that's like the cost 2, you put a 3-inch cloud and enemy living models without immunity fire have -2 to their attack rolls while they're in it. So it's like a line of sight blocker.
Gotcha.
Like unexpectedly, just like, oh, a guy died, boom, and all of a sudden, I don't know, more things can't die.
Patrick,
that could be cool.
In the command book, it says he basically gives cancer to everything too close to him. He grew the tree so he can be off the floor of Earth. That is terrifying.
That's amazing.
I can't. I'm playing him on Saturday. All right, what else we got?
He has Death to Dust. It's just range 8, power 12, and you box the model if you remove from play. If you kill him, Host of Shadows, you gain Ghostly in your control range. Wait. In the spellcaster's control range, not command range.
Yeah, no, control is fine.
Yeah, your battle group gains Ghostly, so that's cool. But only lasts for the turn.
No.
And then Sands of Fate. He has so many friggin' spells. You can remove a friendly living faction trooper model from the spellcaster's control range from play and replace it with the spellcaster. You cannot advance after being placed by Sands of Fate. So if something's within 16 inches of you, you can just kill one of your own dudes and teleport yourself there.
That's why he doesn't have a weapon.
I mean, he's not going to do anything. I guess you could kind of like spell assassinate somebody with Death to Dust. But that'd be cool. You're like, I'm blocking my caster with a war, like, I don't know, anything. So like they set up the assassination, and you're like, and I teleport across the board because you killed one of my little crabbits.
Wow.
He could be slippery. He could be very slippery. And then Scything Touch, Dark Shroud to give one of your models. It's only for an infection model.
Okay.
Not unit. But yeah, I think Sands of Fate is the coolest thing to do when they kill one of your own war beasts. You just kind of relocate after they've activated that side of the board.
Right. Nice.
Or you can go in and claim an objective that they thought wasn't going to be. Yeah.
Yeah, you could score points on that for scenario.
Yeah.
All right.
Nice.
I want to talk about these guys. They're so cute. It's all backwards on the camera, isn't it? Stupid.
No. We see them good.
Okay, so we've got Nayslayers, which the new release for Grymkin, which I think came out today. No, the King of Nothing came out today. All right, so we've got a lovely little blister box. And these are all metal. Everything here is metal. So much metal. Wow, okay. Well, let's take a look. Although really holding the box, I should have known that. But whatever.
All right, these guys are small base cavalry models.
Cavalry, really? Like they go to the church and everything?
Cavalry. I thought that's what I said.
No.
Defense 13, armor 14. So they're like victim stats.
No, they're kind of dumb is the thing about them. And like look at their spears, like their weapon.
Just a big old lance, and then they're holding a horse head? Well,
they can only charge.
Wait, they can only charge?
Yeah, take a look at their special rolls. I think I don't know if the horse, these poor dead tongue hanging out horses can like actually do damage if they actually get like a mount attack. I can't remember. But as I recall, like they have to go in and charge.
Oh, okay. So they don't have to charge, but the lance can only be attacked. You can only attack with the lance if you charge.
Okay. So what's the base weapon otherwise?
There is no other weapon.
So you can only charge.
So if you get stuck in with them, you're screwed. Because the weapon's range is 0 unless the model charges. Then you get range 2 until the charge attack is resolved, and then it goes back to range 0 again.
Right.
So it's a crazy lance. But they have armor piercing. POW 7. But they get a boosted attack roll because they're cavalry. And
Yes.
so there's that. And so with speed 6, I mean, so they have 11-inch threat, which is pretty good. And well, they do have a mount. Never mind, the mount can always attack.
Okay, so they can literally pick up this stick and whack you over the head with this dead horse. It's like a twist on the whole beating a dead horse, because dead horse beats you. This really should be a caterer model.
It's so Soviet caterer horse beats you.
Yeah. The dead horse beats you. Why do I love these models so much? They're ridiculous.
They do have reposition.
They're really easy to assemble too.
3, because they're cavalry, and they have relentless charge, so they get Pathfinder when they're charging, which is basically all you're doing. And yeah, that's basically it. They're 12 points for 5 models.
Yes. Which I think, I don't want to play evil Mandragora. I don't. They're not evil. The Grymkin are not evil, technically. Like, they kind of are. It's complicated, but I digress. Yes. So,
okay, so all I think of when I see these guys is like the sport that has emerged, I think, in Finland, of all the little girls prancing around with, you know, pony sticks.
What? Is that a thing?
Yeah. So they just, I don't know what it's called. I'll have to look it up. I can look it up right now. But there's like,
the internet really gives you just a weird view of the world. You're like, people do this?
yeah. So they prance around, and they basically the same thing as the Ace Slayers, but they're like scored on like graceful points as they like trot around with their own legs, and they like run and they try to jump over like high things. And it's like a thing.
Of course it is. All right, so yes. So again, these guys, like 2 of them are already assembled. You just glue on some lances and attach them to their base and they're ready to go. It's not anything like assembling Lord Longfellow or any of the beasts. Those guys were crazy.
Yeah, I think it's worse than the Quidditch phenomenon. Like it's taken hold and people are loving it.
Yeah, Mandragora was like, please don't let that be the Quidditch phenomena. People do weird things with their time, like hang out with their Canadian friends on the internet. It's just like, who does that?
Ooh, Paris View says they could be modified maybe into chess pieces.
Ooh, I like that idea. That
Yeah.
sounds fun. So yeah, those are the 2 models for new release stuff. And I'll have to see who best the Nayslayers actually run with, because
Well,
they don't need the Pathfinder, and they would just want something that could probably increase their speed if at all possible.
Well, the King of Nothing can give 1 scything touch, and then it charges in, and then they're all pound 9 weapon or armor piercing, which is really, that hurts a lot. They could kill a jack.
Right.
Easily. So there's that, and then they kind of reposition 3 and kind of hopefully jam with something else, I guess.
Yeah, I guess so. Ta-da! New stuff! It's the greatest! Man. Yeah, I don't know what I'm going to do for this release event, because I'm like, but I want to play Kador. Then I want to play my Grymkin. Is everybody going to be playing Grymkin? Probably not.
Just play both. Show up, and then come back like with a mustache and hat.
Huh.
And then play another faction, and then be like, I'm 2 different people. It's no way it could backfire. No one will know the difference. You'll play as 2 different people at the release event.
Oh my gosh. I should also bring up, I actually went to a little convention recently up in Amarillo. There's this convention that I'm just totally in love with called AMACon out in Amarillo. I had no idea how many nerds lived in Amarillo. Apparently, Amarillo, like less than 200,000 people, has 5 game stores.
Oh.
It's crazy. And I met so many like mothers there who were talking about their like 30-something-year-old son being so into it, and they were talking about 40K, and and Blood Bowl and like kind of naming a few models. I was like, where am I? This place is cool. So Amarillo, a little bit of a nerd haven. Also, to answer Mandragora's question, like kind of a while back in the unboxing, I am still doing Valhalla. Dan is supposed to be coming to Valhalla. If you can go ahead and get a plane ticket already.
Oh yeah, plane ticket. How do I order those again?
It did a Kickstarter back in in May, and wars are hard, March, and so yeah, I'm running it again this October. It's good times. You should come sometime. Yeah, and that's it. I think I'm gonna have a picture up for my review or my kind of time from AMA Con up on the Facebook, but that's kind of all that's going on right now. I've got some stuff in the works, and I should actually have a Grymkin game getting recorded this weekend, so I'm very excited about that.
Very nice. You have it all painted up and everything?
Yes, I do. Why? Because someone else did it. And they look great too. I'm excited to show them off. So, all right. Well, I think on that note, we should probably go ahead and end. Korgra and Grymkin are evil. Just ask Minoth. He knows. He's the good guy. And I feel bad because I kind of want to talk about it in as much as I know, which isn't the broad, like the full scope of everything, but it's more complicated than Grymkin just being evil. It's almost like a reaction to something, and I don't want to give it away if anybody is trying to read it, so I'll give it another month, and then I'll be like, and this is why Grymkin aren't evil. Necessarily. Except that guy. He's totally evil, but we'll see. Patrick also wants to know if I am going to the Las Cruces Comic Con. I don't know. I have family there. I should totally go. When is that? I have to look that one up. So maybe. The answer is maybe. All right. Well, on that, do you have any last thoughts, Dan, that you want to share? You said you're recording something soon?
Yeah. I'm gonna, the plan, the general sense of plan is, don't get your hopes up too much, but is to focus more on my 40K orcs, because they're the ones I've had the most fun with, and 40K is a lot more bat rep friendly, and you just get the more interactions with the fans, and so I think I'm gonna try to switch gears on that. I've been having fun playing the game, so I might do a little review of the new orcs in 8th edition. It's a bit late, but put my 2 cents in. I might try to focus on that, and we'll see.
All right, on that lovely maybe note, I actually am recording stuff. I just have to actually finish processing it. I actually haven't been home that much, so anyway, we'll get it sorted out. Thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining us. I hope you enjoyed the unboxing and on all of our ramblings and nonsense. And thank you so much for hanging out. I love hanging out with you guys and chatting back and forth. And I'm feeling like I have friends, I guess. I don't know. So, yeah. Have a good night, everybody. We'll see you later.
Buenas noches.